Welcome back to America's Retirement Headquarters, home of the Retirement Guys formula and America's Medicare Associates with Nolan Baker and Scott Kerschner. ARHQ.com is the website and the phone number, 419-794-3030. I saw someone who'd written in an advice column on MarketWatch, written to an advice column with an inheritance question. He took out a loan from his mom for $20,000 back in 1996, but only paid off $5,000. After his mother had passed, he found out that she had deducted the entire loan from his inheritance, even though he paid off a quarter of the money. Now he wants to know how to fix the mess. If this gentleman came into your office and had this question, what would you tell him?
Well, the first thing I would tell him is, why do you think it's a mess? I mean, that would be a question I would ask. Why are you assuming that this is a mess, and what needs to be fixed? You know, this topic and this scenario is something that I've dealt with and am dealing with on an ongoing basis. You know, one of the important things with an estate plan, and Nolan, you and I have put together the Ultimate Estate Planning Guide. If anybody out there is interested in receiving a copy of our Ultimate Estate Planning Guide to kind of help you put things in place so you don't have to deal with something like this, reach out to the office, go on arhq.com and request that, and we can definitely get that to you. But, one of the important things is with the estate plan put in place, you're going to have a better understanding of exactly what mom was thinking about in this particular situation. You're going to know why she put that in there and why she did what she did. And it may not have anything to do with, any ill feelings. It's just the fact that you took out a loan, you didn't pay it all back. And if you have siblings, it's not fair to them, that you didn't pay it back. So she just assumed that, hey, let's just, take the whole entire amount out of your portion of the inheritance. And this happens all the time. And it makes for a very uncomfortable situation at Christmas and around the Thanksgiving dinner table. But without that estate plan put in place and them specific instructions on what to do, it can really wreak havoc. And I know you've experienced this in all of the years that you've been doing this, 30 years, coming across situations like this. How would you handle a situation like this if someone came to you?
Well, I think a couple different things in 30 years of experience and, personal experience. Number one, don't give loans to family member. It usually doesn't end well.
Right, exactly.
If you have the money to give it, and you can give your money away now, go ahead and, give it to them without that expectation of getting paid back. Because I've seen so many situations, again, that things get awkward at the Thanksgiving table or at Christmas because somebody loaned money back and they're like, why is Timmy getting some Christmas presents when you couldn't make your payment to me this month? Those are awkward conversations with families. I know parents are trying to do the right thing, again, with giving these loans. But usually, again, loans don't work well. If you can give the money to your child and it doesn't hurt you financially and you still have enough financial resources to live money comfortably for the rest of your lifetime, then give it away without that expectation. Secondarily, the gentleman who wants to fix the mess. So in 1996, he borrowed $20,000, paid $5,000. You know what mom could have made on $20,000 since 1996?
A lot of money.
I'd say pay it up, buddy.
Yeah.
It's coming out of your estate. It certainly should. But here's the thing. It's in this situation, it seems like a lot of poor communication. And we see this happen all the time. In fact, if you're a listener, you probably can think of 4 or 5 examples of your own of situations where families got blown up when a loved one passed away because there wasn't good communication. I know even in my own family, with my parents got divorced, my dad got remarried, and only a few short years later, at the age of 49, my dad passed away of a heart attack. In that blended family, I still feel like there wasn't clear communication on what his ultimate estate wishes were, which caused a lot of friction for a long time. I was a young kid. I really had to learn a lot and grow up. And I just, sometimes say, I wish I would have known what Dad's wishes were.
Yeah.
And so if you have an estate plan and it's, old, you're got that estate plan, you're like, we did it when the kids were little and now your kids are 30, now's the time to revisit it. Even if you have an estate plan and you haven't pulled it out and looked at it in the last couple of years, what I would say in my experience by going through this ultimate estate planning checklist is 9 out of 10 times I'm going to find something in there that is a mistake or a potential mistake that could catch people off guard. It's, again, not having the correct language in there. It's not naming a properly named beneficiary. We're not attorneys, so we're not trying to give you legal advice. What we're trying to do is we're giving you advice that says, here's the type of things you need to think about that we've learned from 30 years and hundreds of families. And unfortunately, dealing with retirees, we have families that we help through this transition plan. And those families who have clearly communicated what their wishes are tend to be families that can not only pass wealth on better, but families that can stay together when things get tough versus these families that get blown up. And again, one of the ways that you can do that is we'll go through that ultimate estate planning guide. Within that ultimate estate planning guide, we've got the things that we've thought about, like what you talked about with Dad, finding where his passwords are,
Sure.
who are his key professionals to reach out for, identifying, some of the questions to ask yourself, like, do you know what the 5 things are for a properly named beneficiary form? Those are all the things that are included in that ultimate estate planning guide, which is one section of what we do here at America's Retirement Headquarters, which is our retirement team action plan. In that retirement team action plan, we're going to look at taxes, estate planning, asset protection, and money management. And all those areas can help you make sure that you don't have an estate plan that creates family disagreements.
The one thing, coming back to this, and that's great, Nolan, and that's why I'm here, is because of the team approach. It's phenomenal, and people that come in here always comment on how they like everything being right here so they can get everything taken care of. But one thing, what I see here is, what kind of advice would we tell them? I think one of the big things that I get from what you're saying, Nolan, is, don't loan money to family. So if you properly communicated and maybe advice to this particular mother, not necessarily the son, but the mother would be, if you've got the resources available in your assets, let's take that 20 grand and give that 20 grand to him and communicate properly to him that this will at some point come off of your inheritance. Then he knows that when that time comes, he's not expecting to have this fight, and he's not expected to pay it back because it was a gift that's taken out of the inheritance. So like you said, proper communication can really avoid a lot of the confusion and heartache.
As the saying goes, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And the loss of a loved one is already an emotional time with the gravity that brings. If there is financial uncertainty or financial turmoil that could add further conflict, it could be avoided by having a proper plan put in place. That's part of the Ultimate Estate Planning Checklist. It's part of the Retirement Team Action Plan, and you can have it all put together for you by reaching out and scheduling a time to speak with America's Retirement Headquarters, 419-794-3030, or the website, arhq.com.